My name is Douglas.
What's your last name?
Little. What the fuck is that funny?
One thing you know. Oh, yeah. I got blue. Yeah. It's funky. Oh, yeah. Damn funky. I got blue. Yeah. It's funky. Oh, yeah. Damn funky. I like a pass to the past, that's cash in the future. Fast hands in my moves with the roots out. Oh, yeah. Grab my ass and to proliferate a new state. You know, challenge or a challenge. I'm up and tumbling. I'm crumbling. Building sweat, stumbling, bumbling. Oh, yeah. Bumbling. Nonsense. Rhyme spread, no radicals. Wait. But it's oh, yeah.
I'm originally from Green Bay, Wisconsin. Go Packers. I moved to Hawaii when I was 4 years old. Went to high school there, kindergarten all the way through high school till 2001. So 16 years there. Came out to California in 2001. I did not ride motorcycles for about 11 years after I came out here. No, maybe like 10 years. Finally, when I was 29, I found the Recycle Garage. My girlfriend at the time had a CL 360, a 74, a 76. That thing was awesome looking, and it needed to be worked on. So she heard about the Recycle Garage through the Derby Girls, and we came over one day, and I didn't really have any interest in motorcycles or anything, and I came one Sunday, and then she was working on her bike, and the next Sunday, I think, or maybe the Sunday after, Liza dumped this 81 CB400T in my lap and said, this thing was donated. Get it working and it's yours. I'm like, all right, cool. So, 3 engine rebuilds later, finally got the thing fixed and running.
Yes.
I would say at least 10.
10 bucks.
Yeah. I had the CB, I had a 85 KZ 550, or the GPZ 550. I have a 94 ZX7R. I've got an 01 XR 650R. 3 dirt bikes. I've had a couple mini bikes. Yeah, my dad's a metal worker, so he's a metal fabricator. So I worked for him when I was on Maui for a few years, so I got to learn how to use tools, and that was the major thing. Once you know how to learn tools, you can learn different facets of trades once you learn how to use tools. So going right into motorcycle mechanics and teardowns and build-ups was relatively easy. Not easy, I don't want to say, but easier once I had a basic foundation of knowing how to use the grinder and sockets and what torque specs were and basic things like that. John Dalton was here when I first started coming here, and then he fixed his bike and went on a crazy road trip. So we didn't see him for a few years, and all of a sudden he started showing up again. So John Dalton was one of the original, I don't want to say founders, but he's one of the original members. Back in the day, about 8 years ago, it was just John, Liza, and a couple others that would come and go. Once I started coming, I stayed every weekend. I would come. I told my work I need Sundays off, and they're like, sure, we can do that. It's cheaper that way because it's overtime. Yeah. But they gave me the Sundays off, and I kept coming back, and every weekend I was working on that CB. And then from there, word of mouth, it just started growing and growing and growing, and suddenly there's 10 bikes in the driveway, suddenly there's 20 bikes in the driveway. Now, sometimes there's 30, 40 bikes in the driveway, As soon as I found motorcycling, I kind of stopped playing darts. There was a couple year overlap, but I didn't really have a thing that I was, living for before motorcycling. So I was having a ton of fun, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But when I found motorcycling, it was that's it. This is the thing. This is the one thing that I'm going to devote most of my time and energy into. Well, it's impacted me in a big way. It helps me impact others in their lives too, so it's a chain of events. We advocate safe riding, proper gear, and making sure your bike is safe before you go riding it. And a lot of people who show up here don't know what a safe motorcycle is, whether they rode it here or not. So we get to go around and look at the bike and say, oh, well, the chain is fucked up right now, or the front brakes aren't working, or this, that, and the other. And they're like, oh, okay. So the skills and knowledge that I've gained here let me pass it on to other people. Did I answer the question?
Dukaki Dave is here.
Dukaki Dave is here. It's impacted me also. This is how I found out about the Vampires MC Santa Cruz.
Good.
And I've been riding with the Vampires almost as long as I've been coming here, because the Vampires and Recycle have been friends for a long time. So Liza fucking stuck me on an old SR 500 thumper. Said, hey, you got to come on this thing called the Hooligan Ride. So she puts me on this bike, and I almost killed myself in that ride. I did totally fine keeping up with stuff around town, but as soon as we got into the twisty mountain roads where you actually have to know how to ride, I went right into oncoming traffic on someone else's bike, mind you. Pulled the Dukaki. I pulled the Dukaki Dave. Adrian pulled me aside right away when we got to the end point and said, look, this is what you need to know, and this is what you should have done, and was like in my face about, because she saw the whole thing, and was like, oh shit, I need to start riding with these guys. So hence my introduction to the Vampires.
So what role do you play in the podcast?
I used to do sound. I was doing Zach's job all the time. I'd set up the soundboard and edit and do all the knobs and everything, and then Zach started showing up and he took over sound, which is kind of nice. But I've been here since the beginning of the podcast. Now I'm just crack jokes when I can. I don't really give too much knowledgeable information towards the subject at hand, but I got good one-liners once in a while, I guess.
Oh.
My go-to bike is a 2001 XR 650R Supermoto that I got from a San Francisco Vampire who got it from Adrian, which is a Santa Cruz Vampire. This used to be Adrian's dirt bike. So it got bashed to shit in the dirt by Adrian for a long time. Sat in her driveway for a couple of years. My up-the-butt bike would probably be a 2002 plated YZ250 Supermoto.
Why?
Because two-stroke.
Because fuck you, that's
Because fuck you, that's why. Exactly.
We can find one for you and then pound your ass out.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Oh, yeah.